Progress.
All right, let's continue our work. Yeah. So we have been able to do 5 questions of the 10 questions. We have done F, G, H, I, and J. So we want to do the remaining 5 questions. But before we do the remaining 5 questions, let's see the question we are talking about once again. The question is, we are practicing the use of if, and, or, and count. Now, this is the question. In the company, the HR department maintains a staff database with the following column: name, age, gender, department lead. You are assigned to analyze this data using Excel formula if, and, or, count. Complete the task below by writing a formula for each in a new column cell. So we have been able to do question 1 to 5. So starting with question 6 now. Now question 6 is counting complete age record. Count how many employees have their age in column B field. Now, so let's go to column B. Now, this is what we have in column B. Age, starting with the age of Tina, which is in B2, and ends with the age of Sarah, which is in B21. So from what we are seeing here, we see that all the employees have their age field. So obviously, if we should count 20. So, but instead of doing manual counting like that, we can use the keyword count. First of all, let me name this count. So now I want to see how many employees have their age field. That will be equals to, then the count keyword, COUNT, then bracket open. Since we are starting with the age of Tina, Tina is in B2. Age of Tina is in B2. So that's B2, all right? Double column to the age of Sarah, which is in B21. So then we close the brackets, then we press enter. So we'll see that, yes, we have 20 employees with their age field. So that is the answer for question 6. So moving on to question 7, counting department records. Count how many employees have their department field. So then department is in column D. So again, we go to column D this time around. This is column D where you have departments. Again, we are going to use the keyword counts, right? So if we use the keyword counts, so we say equal to counts, then bracket open. Since it is in column D, we start from D2 also. Yeah, we start from D2 because you have the first department in D2, so to D21. So that is D2 towards D21, then we close, then we press enter. Now we have 0. But the thing is, all the employees have their department field. Why are we having 0? Now, the reason why we are having 0 is the keyword count that we use in the case of age, that we got 20 altogether. And again, that we use in the case of departments, that we got 0, can only be used for numerical values. You can only use it for numerical values. So it cannot work for this. But since we are told to just make use of the keyword counts, that is why we have 0. On a normal day, when we are talking of, since this one is not numerical value, you can just add a year, right? If we add a year, count A, and we press enter, we'll get 20, right? So that's the keyword we are supposed to use when we are not talking of numerical values, right? But we are limited to just using count. We are still going to look at count A and the other count keyword. So we just use that count. And so we have 0 for now. Of course, that is not the answer, but by the value of the instruction. So that is what we are going to have. It will return 0 since it is not numerical value. Now we move to question 8. Now, what is question 8? Question 8 is talking about male or senior staff check. That's what question 8 is talking about. So, male or senior staff check. If an employee is male or over 45, label as yes, otherwise label as no. You have two conditions here. So we are making it's a conditional statement. If an employee, first of all, is male or is over 35. So the next thing we are going to do now is, first of all, we are going to create a column called name. So let's create a column called, sorry, is it new? What again? We create a column called male or senior staff. Yeah, let's call it that. So we are going to create a column called male or senior staff. So the person must be a male or must be over 45, I guess. So male or senior staff, right? Yeah. So we have created a column called male or senior staff. Now, going back to the question, if an employee is male or over 45, the only reason why a person will be in that male or senior staff column is if the person is male or the person is over 45. It means one of the two conditions must be met. Not necessarily. We are going to put the two conditions, but one of the two must be met to return yes. Otherwise, it is going to return no. Now, how do we do that? So we are going to make use of the conditional statement if. So again, we start with equality sign, then if statement, bracket open, or, right, bracket open again. So the first condition is that, now, where do we have gender? We have it in C. The person must be male. So it means C, since we are starting with K2, in the case of gender now, we are starting with C2. So that would be C2, right? Must be equal to what? Double column, male. Then we are going to close this. Oh, sorry. We close this. Then it must be male or must be over 45. So where do we have age? We have age at column B. So it means B must be greater than what? Must be greater than 45. Yes, that's what the question says. Then bracket close. So if one of these, then comma, if there is one of these conditions is met, then we have yes. So double column again, we have yes, column close. But if not, we have no. So double column again, no, then close it. Yes. So what are we missing here? Oh, there's supposed to be a parenthesis. Yes. Your closing brackets. So, oh, sorry. We have one. Then we have two. One, comma. So where is the error? So if, comma, or, bracket open, C2 equals to male, comma, B2 equals to 45. Then we have yes, we have no. So, yeah. Okay, let's go over this once again. I don't seem to see where we have the error. So we have equal to, then we have if, then bracket open, we have or, bracket open again. So the person must be male. So where do we have gender? We have gender at C. So C2 equals to what? Equals to male. So bracket close again, then comma, then the person or the person must be older than 45. Where do we have age? We have age in B. So that would be B2 is what is greater than 45. So this one is closed. Then if this condition is met, bracket open, then we have yes. Then this one is closed. Then comma again. If not, we have no. So bracket open again. Quotation mark again. Then we have no. Then quotation mark close. Then we have close. Yeah, yeah. I don't seem to know where we have the original error, but yes, that's what we are going to have anyway. So now looking at Tina, is Tina older than 35, 45? No. So at least one of the conditions must be fulfilled. Secondly, is Tina a male? No, Tina is not a male. So that is correct. Since that is correct, then the next thing we need to do is a drop down to get yes. So that is that. But before we move on to the next question, can we interchange? The question says we should find the person must be a male or over 45. Can we say the person must be over 45 or be a male? Are we still going to get the same results? In the first result, we have no. Are we still going to have the same result? Because it is also very important that we understand that part. So I will just clean this again, starting with this. So, yeah, I'll just clean this again. So again, I name this male or senior staff, right? So now, the first part of the question is the person must be a male or the person must be older than 45. So let's start with the person must be older than 45. Let's see if we are going to have the same answer. Equal to if, then bracket open, or bracket open again. So age is in B, right? So we say the person must be, it means B2, right, is greater than what? 45, comma, then also the gender is in C, so that would be C2, right? Must be equal to what? Then quotation mark, male, male, then quotation mark, close, then bracket close, then comma. If one of these conditions is met, then it is yes. From the question, yes, uh, yes. Then we close this again, comma. But if not, it is no. Then quotation mark again, no. Then we close the quotation mark. Then we close the whole bracket, then press enter. You see, we still have the same answer. So it means for the logical operation or. So you can interchange, you are still going to have the same answer. So that's just what I want to confirm. So now, yeah, we still have the same answer. So now we have answered question 8, I guess. Let's check. I've been able to do question 8. Now, question 9, female staff who are late. Female staff who are late. So we are going to create another column. We call it late female staff. Oh, what's happening here? Oh, sorry. That one clean again. Let's do it again. I want to be sure. If, then we have or, bracket open. We first want to start with the age, which is C. Which is B. Yes, B2 must be greater than 45, comma, or C, which is gender, must be a male, C2, equal to what? Quotation mark, male, quotation mark close. Then we close this. If this condition is met, is fulfilled, then we have yes. So quotation mark, yes, quotation mark close. Then if not, we have no. Quotation mark again, no. Then quotation mark close. Then bracket close. So what's the problem with the formula this time around? If it is greater than 45, yeah, there should be comma here. Again, let's do it. We have if or, right? We have B2 greater than 45. Okay, comma. Then we have C2, right? Must be what? Male. So quotation mark, male, quotation mark again. Then we close this. Then another comma, another comma. Then if this one of these condition is met, then yes, quotation mark, then comma again. Otherwise, no. So quotation mark, no. Quotation mark again. Then we close the brackets. Yes. So the condition is, what I'm trying to do is just I want us to see if we can interchange. The original question is must be a male and must be over 45. Can we say interchange the question as must be over 45 and must be a male? Are we still going to have the same results? Yes, we have the same results as when we first do for must be a male and must be over 45. It's the same as must be a male or must be over 45. It's the same as must be over 45 or must be a male. So that is how it works for all. Now let's move to the next question. So the next question is female staff who are late. So we are going to create a column called late female staff. But before we do, let me expand this. So let me call this late female. Let's call it late female staff. Yeah. So that's late female staff. Now, what's the condition for this to be fulfilled? If an employee is female and late, so label as late lady, otherwise label as okay. Female and late. So let's see about that. So if an employee is female and late, so we start with equal to if First of all, before we even start, we have two parts to this logic. If an employee is female, bracket open, and if the employee is late, right? Now, I want us to first do for if an employee is late and if the employee is female. So let's start with if an employee is late, we should label as late lady. So where do we have late? We have it at E, right? So that would be E2 equal to what? Quotation mark, late, right? Quotation mark again, then comma. And if the employee is what? Is female. So where do we have gender? C. So starting with C2, so that would be C2 equals to what? C2 will be female, yes. So quotation mark, female, then we close the quotation mark. So then we close this first bracket, then comma. If these two conditions are fulfilled, right? Then what do we have? We label as late lady, then quotation mark again, comma. Or if not, we label as yes. So quotation mark, yes. All right, quotation mark close, then brackets close. Then we press enter. Now we have yes. In the case of Tina is a female, right? Tina is always late. So that is yes. So we first do the reverse. The question is if an employee is what? Let's say again. If an employee is female and late, we label as late lady. Otherwise, label as okay. All right. We have to label as okay, not yes. So let me put the okay here first. Okay. So yeah, we have okay. So the question originally is if an employee is female and late, so the employee must be female and she must be late. Then, if these two conditions are fulfilled, then we label as late lady. But I want us to first reverse it. If the employee is late and it's also a lady, right? We still have it when as if we don't reverse it. So now we have reversed it. We start with if an employee is late and the employee is female. And so we have this for this first case. Now let's go back to original question now. So I will just cut this. So I'll just cut this, right? So I'll just paste it here. All right. So are we going to have the same? Okay. I knew there would be a mistake somewhere. C2 is female. There should be comma in between, comma. Then this shouldn't be there. Yes. Yeah. Okay. So do we have the same results? Think about it. As the first. So that's question L. Now the last part of the question is count of late status entry. So count how many employees have the late field field. Let's see how many employees have that field. So we have late. So how many employees have that field? So that's what we want to look at now. So we'll use the keyword count since that is what we have been using. So we have where we have, okay, we go to column E now because that is where we have leads. So when we go there, what do? We say equals to count. Since that's the keyword we want to use, bracket open. So from what? E2, E21, E2, and to what? E21. Then we close the brackets. Then let's see how many. Here we have 0 by using the keyword counts. So let's leave it as that. Why we are using the keyword count is that is what we are told to use. That doesn't necessarily mean that is the answer for question 10, right? We have more than one count keyword. So there are particular count keyword that will give us the answer. So from the question, we are just told to use the count, C-O-U-N-T keyword. So that's what we used. And we have 0. So let's leave it as that for now. Before we move to, we are still going to talk about all that. So that is that for the question.